The pneumatic underpinner joint 5x5 Super, manufactured in Italy by Pilm, is needed to join the pieces of a frame. The first part of this video shows the functions of the underpinner. The second part explains the characteristics of the machine and shows every part in detail. At the end of the video, the underpinner joint 5x5A will also be presented. This is a simplified model of the 5x5 Super. The joint 5x5 Super which you are seeing is installed on a base which is provided as an optional. The machine, however, can work also without the base. The underpinner needs a compressor. A 24-litre compressor is sufficient, like the silenced Silair 50/24 compressor code 343. Let's see how the machine assembles a frame which is approximately 4 cm wide, applying 2 wedges per corner. The machine allows frames with a maximum width of 10 cm to be assembled. Let's see how a large frame is assembled. In the highest part of the mold, we want to apply 2 stacked 15mm wedges, then another separate wedge, and lastly another. The machine allows us to set 2 positions in the points where the wedges are to be applied. The 2 positions have to be fixed by screwing the appropriate knobs. For the central wedge, you should choose an approximately accurate middle position. We then insert the frontal presser so that it's about 1 cm from the corner of the frame. We insert the vertical presser by fixing it so that it's about 50mm from the frame. We insert the first wedge by pressing the pedal. To insert another wedge above the first, you have to press the red button. To insert the wedge which is in the middle, you have to move the frame to where you want it and press the pedal. To insert the third wedge, you have to move the frame forwards until it's blocked against the stop. We now see how to assemble completely the frame. First of all, you have to ensure that the clear plastic protection is properly positioned at a height of approximately 2 cm above the frame. We can then start to assemble. The work velocity is of 50 cycles every minute. We now examine in detail the technical characteristics of the machine and the various parts of the machine. The joint 5x5 underpinner uses special wedges with a height of 4, 7, 10, 12, 15mm. If you use different wedges, the machine doesn't work. The wedges are of 3 types. Standard steel wedges for soft woods such as aegis. High resistance steel wedges for hard woods such as ramen, ash, oak, walnut. Double sharpened wedges, particularly suitable for hardwoods and large frames which require the stacking of wedges. RINALDIN keeps all measurements of every type of wedge in the warehouse, except the 4mm wedges, which are used rarely in the framing field. On this table are listed all the wedges with their relative codes. If the wedges have a height less than 15mm, you have to use a thickness compensator which levels the wedges at the same height. Provided are the 4 necessary compensators. When you insert the wedges in the charger, you have to firstly insert the appropriate compensator for the height of the wedges. Every compensator has the height of the wedge which has to be used carved on it. When you insert the compensator, you have to ensure that the hinge of the thickness enters in the appropriate hole. The wedges have to be inserted whilst paying attention that the sharpened side is facing upwards. The sharpened side is covered with glue. Then you insert a pushing wedge block. There are 2 pushing wedge blocks provided. One is for wedges with a height of 4 or 7 mm and another for wedges with a height of 10, 12 and 15 mm. You can help yourself with a provided magnet when removing the wedges. The vertical presser is adjustable in height. The notches which are found along the vertical axis are needed to avoid the set height from gradually changing whilst working. It has to be fixed at approximately 15 mm from the frame by screwing the special blocking lever. At the base of the presser you can apply 3 different punches. The standard triangular puncher suitable for normal frames, the tubular puncher suitable for highly decorated frames, and the round puncher suitable for flat frames. The last one is provided only as an optional and has to be therefore ordered separately. The vertical presser is also horizontally adjustable by making it slide along and fixing it with a blocking lever. Also, the speed of the fall is adjustable. To reduce the speed, you have to rotate the regulating knob clockwise. To increase, you have to rotate the knob anti-clockwise. For normal frames, you can work at maximum speed, whilst with delicate frames, a slower speed is advised. The frontal presser is needed to push the corner of the frame towards the supporting plate and has to be positioned at about 15 mm from the corner of the frame. It works at the same degree of pressure as the vertical presser. The pneumatic cycle makes the frontal presser work first, and only when the corner is firmly pressed against the supporting plate makes the vertical presser drop. The supporting plate is adjustable by moving the regulating screws. This possibility is useful in some cases if the corner joint doesn't turn out perfect. We now examine all the regulations which are found on the frontal panel. This is the speed regulating knob of the vertical presser. We have already seen that to reduce the dropping speed, you have to rotate clockwise and to increase anti-clockwise. This is the cycle selector. The cycle can be manual or automatic. With the diverter on the right on automatic, every time you press the pedal, the machine does a complete cycle, or rather blocks the frame with the 2 presses and automatically inserts a wedge. If you want to stack another wedge, you have to press the red button, Prova inserimento graffe. With the diverter on the left on manual, the cycle only makes the 2 presser work, but doesn't make the wedge come out. After being blocked, therefore, it's possible to control everything better. Then, to make the wedge come out, you have to press the red button, Prova inserimento graffe. We have seen that the red button is needed to make the wedge come out. If the wedge which comes out finds another wedge already inserted, it pushes upwards so that the wedge becomes stacked. The red button works the same way in both the manual and automatic function. This is the gauge which indicates the pressure. 2.5 to 4 atmospheres are adequate for soft woods, 4 to 5 atmospheres for medium hardwoods, 6 to 8 atmospheres for hardwoods. The pressure regulator is needed to change the pressure. To increase the pressure, you have to lift the knob and rotate it clockwise. To reduce it, rotate it anti-clockwise. To fix the set pressure, you have to lower the knob again. It's also possible to order separately, as an optional, the 2 extensions so that you can work in front of the machine but being facilitated by being able to support the frame with the extensions. The accessories box is provided with the machine and includes 4 compensators for wedges of 4, 7, 10, 12 mm, tubular angular presser, different Allen keys for maintenance, magnet especially useful for extracting wedges, pushing wedge block for wedges of 4 and 7 mm, pushing wedge block for wedges of 10 and 12 and 15 mm. Instructions manual. The following optionals can be ordered. The round puncher, which is added to the 2 punches already provided with the machine. Measurement template for hexagonal frames. Measurement template for octagonal frames. The measurement templates have to be applied where the supporting plate is and are fixed with the screws in the holes of the 2 small wings. Group filter lubricator, which also consists of an instructions sheet and the necessary accessories to apply it to the machine. The lubricator filter is needed to collect the water which eventually condenses and lubricates the internal pneumatic organs. You can also order from RINALDIN any replacement parts of the machine. The Underpinner joint 5x5A is a model which is less automatic than the 5x5 Super. It's suitable for the framer who has a limited amount of work. In particular, the joint 5x5A doesn't have the following characteristics which are found instead in the Super. The frontal presser is missing. The dropping regulator of the vertical presser is missing. The selector, which allows you to choose the manual or automatic cycle, is missing. The red button, Prova Inserimento Graffe, is missing. There's only one corner stopping block rather than two. You will find the pneumatic underpinner joint 5x5 Super and joint 5x5A in the catalogue of RINALDIN and on the website www.rinaldin.com.